Hello, welcome to our Prix Jean Prat preview coming from Deauville on Sunday. 7 furlong, bit of a specialist race. It's quite an interesting race over the years where you get milers that have struggled to stay the trip, and then you get 6 furlong horses that look like they need to step up and trip. And often you have English and French and sometimes some Irish clashing in this race. So it can be a difficult one to bring together the form lines of, but normally a very interesting race. And this year's edition looks no different. Probably one of the strongest editions since Pinatubo, Two Don Hot were running. And the favourite at the front of the market, we've got Shadow of Light, 5-2. Cosmic Year, one of the star Juddmonte horses this year. He's 10-3. Into the Frenchies, Maranoa Charlie is 5-1. Wood Shauner, 15-2. Lion and Winter, 8-1. Silius, 18-1. Daylight's 25s. Cacophonics 40s, Apollo Fountain 66s. So yeah, quite diverse, interesting fields. We had the Lion and Winter was supplemented. I gather we're due more supplementing, Daniel.
Yeah, we've got a late supplement coming in tonight or tomorrow morning from the big guy on high. It's called Bad Weather. And it changes everything for me in this race. There's due to be an enormous amount of rain falling at Deauville, where course is currently described as good soft, bon souple. That you always add one for French going descriptions. Basically, that's at least good. So it's decent quality ground now, but from about the 8 different weather forecasts I've looked at, because I'm sad, it's not going to be like that tomorrow. So yeah,
okay.
It informs the analysis.
Okay, yeah, it certainly does, because the ground was the foundation of the excuses for Shadow of Light in the Commonwealth Cup. This should potentially be perfect for the Son of Lope to Vega. 7 looks the Goldilocks trip, 6 too short, mile too long. The concern for him is the bizarre campaigning, or not bizarre campaigning, but maybe rushed campaigning. And do you think 5-2 represents enough value for just being the class horse in the race?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close to value. I really do. I mean, there's got a lot of discrepancy on this. I mean, Ladbrokes and Coral have him as short as 13-8. And if I, had to play bookmaker, and thankfully I don't, but I'd certainly have him south of or rather sort of shorter than 2-1. So I think 5-2 is value. It's not like a sort of ruling court was trained for the Derby, messed around with, and then dropped back suddenly at short notice. He's done a mile. He's done 6 furlongs. Now he's back to 7. These are not crazy changes. I quite like the redemption factor in this race, as in, you mentioned Pinatubo and Two Darn Hot. A very similar profile in a sense that the horses are brilliant at 2. And then, oh dear, it wasn't quite going right at 3. But then they're taken to this slightly, less deep waters as Group 1s go. And they just do it. And got to be an argument. This guy just does it.
Yeah, a lot of the 2-year-old races are over 7 furlongs, so maybe they are just specialists at that trip. You've got the Dewhurst, the Champagne Stakes that Two Don Hot won at Doncaster. So yeah, it's possible that just was their speciality, and returning to 7 sees them at their best.
The other point on Shadow of his Light. I mean, this rain really works for him. I mean, if the rain hadn't come, it would be riding definitely good to firm by tomorrow, given the summer weather we're having. And that would be a question mark. But that question mark is almost certainly going to be removed. So this horse has got a lot of things in its favour.
Okay, yeah, so 5-2, if you like backing favourites, a thumbs up from us so far. I suspect that thumb will be turning when it comes to Cosmic Year at 10-3, who, being a son of Kingman, probably isn't going to enjoy the ground so much.
No, I mean, it's interesting listening to Harry Shelton and maybe the Juddmonte spokesman, whose name I've forgotten. In the last couple of months, there's been talk about, obviously they had to juggle the pack in terms of where they send this horse, because they've got such a crazy wealth of talent over that sort of 7-8 furlong trip. But they were, Harry Shelton definitely on record saying on one occasion that didn't want rattling fast ground for this horse. I don't quite know why, but whatever, he's the trainer and he'll know. I mean, it's a Kingman horse. What I'm doubtful about is whether if it turns proper soft, and Deauville is a track that gets, when the rain comes, does get proper soft. We don't have, fast draining chalk soils in that part of Normandy. I'm not sure at all that that's what he wants. So reluctantly, because he is so exciting and being less than 4 lengths by Field of Gold is still top draw form, and he's still in a way unexposed. We don't know where his ceiling is. Everything was aligned on good ground, but I'm going to steer clear on the likely soft. He's got it to prove for me.
Okay, yeah, not so interesting cosmic year. But next in the betting is Maranoa Charlie, as mentioned, the first of the Frenchies, son of Woosum Bassa, potentially could be the pace angle into the race, depending on what they do with the line in winter. So is he, do you think, by far and away the best of the French?
Yeah, I think he is. This one really excites me. He's just been acquired by Bond Racing, new ownership, and they bought him. Having witnessing sort of some of the sections and things he's done recently. For people who don't remember, he was a sort of the leading French juvenile of last year until he fell in a hole in heavy ground, and the race in the Group 1 won by Twain at the back end of last year. He went like 10 lengths clear on heavy ground over a mile, which was a really, really bad thing to do on the day. The sections he set on heavy ground were very silly. So yeah, throw that out. He's back this season. He's been beaten once when dropped 6 furlongs to another horse lower down the betting here we'll talk about in a bit. But 6 furlongs is not his bag, and he couldn't get to the lead there. All his competitors in the top of the market will not be leading that race. They won't want to. Yeah, you mentioned the Lion and Winter's a bit of a rogue card and a wild card in that respect. But this guy's drawn the rail. They'll go straight to the lead. And I think there's a good chance they won't see which way he went, apart from possibly Shadow of Light, who... Yeah. I mean, the sectionals he did last time were really, really eye-catching. He ran basically 120 for 7 furlongs, which is really fast at Deauville. He's also unbeaten at Deauville. He's unbeaten over 7 furlongs. Now, this is obviously the classiest race he's been competing in, but yeah, he's been giving weight away, looking really good, setting really fast times. Paris Tough, morning line maker. They always make up odds, often this wrong, but for what it's worth, they make him favourite. At around 3-1, 5-2 marker. I don't think he will be. The weight of English money for the top 2 in the market will ensure that. But you can get 5-1, and that's just too big. I'm playing him each way.
Okay. So Woodshauner is next in the betting at 15-2, and he, in fact, beat Marinard Charlie over 6 furlongs, but has lost him over 7. And do you see, again, running over 7 at Deauville, the form sticking to the 7 furlong form?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if Woodshauner could turn it around with Maranoa Charlie over 7. He was well beaten by Maranoa Charlie a few runs back. What I would say in Woodshauner's favour, although I don't think the 7 furlongs is necessarily what he wants, this son of Wooded, the progression from each race to race to race to race, continual improvement is pretty clear. And last time, it's pretty notable that his victim was Time for Sandals, who then, of course, went on to win the Commonwealth Cup. I mean, that's decent form, and that was the best race that Woodshauner has run yet, according to Timeform. Incidentally, on Timeform ratings, Maranoa Charlie and Woodshauner have the beating of Cosmic Year. I don't quite know how they come up with the figures they do. That might be a mystery. The only one they don't have the beating of is Shadow of Light, if he returns to the Middle Park form or the Guineas form. But otherwise, these two are right up there. The 7th furlong testing ground, I will desert this one, but he does make me nervous. It does make me nervous.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, maybe one to follow this season as he drops back to 6 furlongs. Next in betting, we'll touch on the line in winter. We've poured scorn on Charlie Appleby's campaigning of his 3-year-olds this year, but the line in winter going Dante, Derby, Jean Prat is probably a line that I've not seen before. And obviously, Aidan O'Brien, he won the St James's Palace with Circus Maximus having dropped them down from the Derby trip, but it feels possibly a step too far for the line in winter here.
Completely. I mean, basically, this horse is everything about this horse is 2-year-old reputation and what he did as a 2-year-old. Everything else, if we couldn't look at any other 2-year-old seasons, this guy's a 50-1 shot, right? And everyone thinks, oh, he's maybe got something in him given the right circumstances. But I mean, the final nail for the coffin to me is the weather. I mean, that one standout, absolute top draw piece of form in his card, the win at York from Ruling Court. and Wimbledon Hawkeye or whatever, and a comfortable victory. And I'm going to say the Aiken, but I get my races.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was.
Okay, I mean, that was good. That was fast ground. I could see them pulling him out. It'd be a shame because he just wanted to take on. 12 furlongs suddenly down to 7. And by the way, Aidan O'Brien hasn't even said, yeah, we think this is the right fit for this. They just think, well, we're going to compare. They've said we think he's a miler, and we therefore think this is a good starting point to work towards the Prix Jean Prat over the same course, if not distance, in a month's time. So yeah, but bewildering. But as I say, I wouldn't be surprised if he's pulled if it turns up soft.
Yeah, and well, if he was pulled, that would leave an 8 runner field. And if that is the case, are there any of the outsiders that are interesting to you?
Silius next in the betting, no, he's been sort of beaten every time he's encountered Charlie, and he's usually getting weight, which you won't get here. So that's a no. The next one, Daylight, 25-1. Daylight is quite interesting. This one was a really decent 2-year-old, second to Lake Victoria. Came over as a rate of that, and was well beaten in that, but obviously a talented sort. And they tried her in the French 1000 Guineas, where a mile wasn't her bag, well beaten behind Zaragana. But I can see improvement drop to 7, improvement third run of the season, and improvement if the rain comes. So I think Daylight is dangerous 25-1, and I've had a few pennies each way.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And then anything on Cacophonics or Polyfountain?
I looked briefly at Cacophonics and thought, what's he doing? And he's won well last time. Then look at the caliber of race, and this is a complete quantum leap. So no, I couldn't go any lower than Daylight, but I do.
Okay, yeah, a bit of something for everyone there. Then we've got outsides 25-1. We've got a nice 5-1 confident pick Maranoa Charlie, and then if you like the favourite, Daniel is also keen on the favourite at 5-2. So anything else before we sign off?
No, just to say that the rain aside, I mean, this is a proper competitive race, and an idea about how the French view it. There's 16 different French newspapers and websites that do the selection box in Paris Turf, the French equivalent to the Racing Post. This morning have well, I guess it came out last night, but they have 6 of them reckon Shadow of Light will win, 6 of them reckon Cosmo Year will win, 4 reckon Maranoa Charlie. So they're pretty split on it. It's a really good competitive contest. But as I say, I think the rain coming will, in my mind, changes things considerably.
Yeah, not very adventurous tipping from the French journos. But yeah, cool. Right, well, thank you very much. Quite a sharp one for us, which makes a change. And thank you very much for joining. And we will probably speak to you at some stage next week, looking at the big Newmarket July Festival. Yeah,
sorry, finger in the air. Can I say one last thing? Just if the rain does come, just look at the Prix de Riz-Orangy. The second on the card, 6 furlong sprint. It'll have Tribalist, who flopped years, never done it 6 furlongs, ahead of the betting. Beauvatier, probably second in the betting, who's been beaten 10 times since he was such a good juvenile. Third in the betting is Spycatcher, with an excellent record at Deauville and an excellent record on soft ground. I'm waiting for them to price this race up, but he really appeals.
Okay, yeah, a quick positive mention for Spycatcher. Right, thank you very much, everyone, and yeah, we'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.